What's up, everybody? Here we are back in our garage production area. So today we're gonna sit down, having a coffee, not having a cigar this morning. We're gonna talk about stuff from our childhood, mainly like movies and TV shows. Not necessarily childhood, but growing up. With the new Roadhouse movie remake coming up, just thought maybe we could talk about nostalgic movies and how they keep remaking stuff instead of coming up with new and entertaining ideas. I mean, we're both readers, so we read a lot. Got Reacher, the whole series, The Wheel of Time. I thought it'd be a really cool subject to touch on.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So, let's hit it.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I hadn't heard anything about the Roadhouse remake until I just happened to see some pictures of
Jake Gyllenhaal,
Jake and
Conor McGregor.
And I was like, what are they doing together? And then I realized they must be doing something, a movie or something. So I started looking into it and found it and watched the preview. And needless to say, I'm undecided. It looks like it's going to be a good movie now. How it's going to make me feel towards, the original Roadhouse, which is a little more painful for me to watch now, but was excellent to watch when it came out. Now it's kind of dated.
You always hear some of Swayze's best work.
But yeah, I really like the original, so it'll be interesting to check out the new remake.
I know I've seen Roadhouse. I know I liked it, but it's been so long since I've seen it that I can't really remember much.
Thought you'd be bigger.
Oh man. I can't remember most of it. I have to rewatch it because I am hyped. I think Jake Gyllenhaal's a great actor. I think every movie he's been in, I've enjoyed. I've enjoyed every movie he's been in. I'm super excited if Conor McGregor can pull off that role. He could be big.
Well, he's always kind of played the villain. He's
Yeah.
always been kind of a villain character, even in his UCF days.
UFC.
Yeah, whatever.
University of Central Florida days.
A little congested today, so my thinking's off. I don't know how that affects it, but it seems to.
That's going to be our excuse.
Yeah. Sticking to it.
Conor McGregor. He started out humble, and so when he first started, there was an entire documentary on where he started and where he ended up before his first championship fight, I believe. And it was like he was broke in Ireland. They were living out of a one-bedroom place, he and his wife supported him just 100%. And how he trained and he climbed to where he was, and then he just adopted who he is now. And it fits him. It definitely fits him. But I'm definitely looking forward to that. This week I'm gonna have to watch the original one because I can't remember any of it, and I just want to see. There's a scene that they show in the trailer where Conor McGregor's walking up to Dalton, and I don't know what Conor McGregor's character is going to be. He walked up to him and he said, let me teach you something. Never let somebody get this close. And then he headbutts him, and I'm like, that's exactly what you would picture Conor McGregor doing. It's just, I'm hyped about it. But I don't mind remake movies as much as other people do.
Well, there's some that are good and some that aren't. And some that are okay. There's like Starsky and Hutch, Charlie's Angels, Chips. And, 21 Jump Street?
21 Jump Street was great. I loved them.
I liked them. I thought they were entertaining, but I didn't think they were... They were more modern, but they weren't as good as the originals. They just weren't. It was a different time. Yeah. They almost seemed a little... Even though they were silly back then, if you go back and watch them now. But I think the new ones, the remakes just came across even sillier.
My name is Jeff.
But there was some TV series that I thought nailed it out of the park, like Hawaii Five-0.
Yep. Even Magnum P.I. is good.
I have not watched that one yet, but I've been meaning to put it on my list of coming up.
They changed it a little bit by making the Higgins character a woman, but yeah, I thought it worked great. The one that they haven't been able to do, and I know they've tried it, was Miami Vice.
Yeah, boy, that's it, because that's so dated to that era that in order to bring it into the modern world, it'd just be so different.
It'd be so cheesy,
And they really haven't done a remake of that?
they've done the movie with Colin Farrell, and
That's right.
it missed the mark. It was so, I thought it was so boring, and
I've seen the movie, I think, but I might have to go back and revisit it.
It's that unmemorable, honestly.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
It was a big miss.
There's just a lot of stuff that.
And then you got like, then you have like other movies that are not doing like a remake, but they're doing like a continuation, like 20 years plus. I mean, first you have the Creed movies from Rocky, and first of all, I'm a huge fan of Michael B. Jordan, and his character in the Creed movies, he blew it away.
I tend to think the continuations do better because they don't date them back, like Indiana Jones. I heard a lot of negative about the movie, and then I watched it. And I thought it was actually, pretty well done. They didn't try to make him a young guy still doing what he did, or back then they made him aged as if it had been a gap, which I thought was awesome. They did the same thing with Rambo.
Yeah.
When they remade the last Rambo, or made the last Rambo,
yeah,
it was gapped for the age time of passing.
I think it works. I think a lot of the issues that came part with the Indiana Jones, the newest movie, I can't remember what it's called. I haven't watched it yet. Was because of the Disney Studios and who was running the film. She's Kathleen Kennedy. She's the same one who railroaded the final 3 Star Wars movies. And a lot of people have a lot of mistrust, and a lot of people were expecting bad things simply because she was behind it.
Well, that could be, but I mean, if I'm going to rate what I think of a show, I'm going to watch it.
I'm going to watch it
and
first.
Then I'm going to tell you if I liked it or I didn't like it, and why, as best I can. I'm not a movie critic, so I don't have all the jargon terms.
Out of everything we are not professional bartenders. I sure the hell am not.
You know what we are? Professional shit talkers.
We can talk a lot of shit about a lot of subjects that we know just a little bit about. So we're also pretty good bullshitters. So we can make it sound like we know exactly what we're talking about. We know just enough to sound like we know what we're talking about.
That's a good thing to tell people. Now they'll never know if we're telling the truth or not.
No, we tell the truth, but I mean, just it sounds like we know more necessarily than we necessarily do. And what we do talk about, we do know. But like when it comes to like the whiskey or the cigars, I know just enough to sound like I know what I'm talking about. But in the same sense, like.
Well, I think I don't know if I like that wording, because I think what we talk about is what we know. We just may not know a lot. So we don't continue to talk past the point of what we know. So we're not bullshit.
That's true.
What we're saying is true. It's just, I mean, obviously we're doing whiskey reviews and cigar reviews and movies, sports, anything that we, this is just our normal banter.
This is what we would talk about today if we were sitting in front of the camera or sitting in the living room.
But the thing is we don't typically talk about what we don't know.
No.
We'll admit to our shortcomings, and we do that a lot. We'll start talking, and he'll start getting into a conversation, and you may catch me just going, yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't have an opinion on it because I don't know anything about it. Or I might say I don't deal with what critics say, because I think some of my favorite movies through all of my life have been the ones that all these critics, like Rotten Tomatoes and all these Siskel and Eberts and all these type people, they have dogged the crap out of them. I'm like, that was an enjoyable movie. I mean, you hear people rag Green Lantern to hell and back. I thought it was an enjoyable movie. I don't understand why everybody hated it so much. Same with Daredevil. I thought Daredevil was a good movie. I don't know why everybody rags that one.
But right there, you're talking about 2 actors that I actually like in just about every role they've ever been in.
Then people talk great about Birds of Prey, and I thought it was garbage. I had to watch that thing 5 times to get through it.
I still haven't seen
it. I just did not like it, and I love her as an actress.
I had very harsh feelings about what was the first one called? And I know everybody's watching this saying, "Oh, it was Suicide Squad."
Yeah.
See, there we go. Thank you. I did not like Suicide Squad at all, and I think part of the reason is because you had such a huge character as Will Smith.
I liked it. The problem with those shows, typically, and even the Avengers in some of the episodes, when you do a movie that has that many characters, it's hard to feel like the movie gave justice to everyone.
Yeah.
Because you've got too many characters and too many personalities.
And they just jumped into
at that
it with
point,
Suicide
I
Squad.
just take it for the storyline, which obviously they're comic book storylines, so they're not like super deep.
That storyline sucks.
But as long as the movie goes together, the characters play their part off of each other, and I enjoy it. That's end of the day, good movie. I enjoyed it. I mean, there's obviously movies that I love, movies that I think were just absolutely amazing. But then there's just good, enjoyable movies, and that's all of Marvel movies are good, enjoyable movies.
Yeah, and Warner Brothers is just not learning their lesson with their new DC universe, DCEU. They tried. They got so close, but then the issues came up with with Justice League. Justice League should have been 3 movies.
Yeah.
If that was 3 movies, it would have run parallel as least as good. Like the Snyder Cut was what, 4.5 hours the movie? If they would have broke Justice League up into 3 movies, and I know exactly how they should have cut it up, it would have been exceptional. But they, with the issues with Snyder and then bringing in Joss Whedon and then turning around and trying to make it funny, they missed the mark on it. And I'm a DC guy. I love DC Comics. The TV shows, the Arrowverse shows. Oh,
They did that same thing with Star Wars, though. The same thing.
Yeah.
They went from the old movies that were made for grown-ups, I think. They were darker, they were a little more gritty.
Story.
And then they made the prequel, and it was cartoonish, and it was goofy, and it was silly, and it was lots of bright colors. And to me personally, as a Star Wars Original 3 fan, it just kind of cheapened the experience on the new ones.
So, are we talking about the prequels or the new ones?
The original 3 that
Yeah.
came out in the 70s,
Yeah.
80s, whatever they were.
Episode 6, 7, or
It'd be 4, 5, and 6 were my favorites. The original 3 that came out. Then they did the one with Jar Jar Binks, and the ones all after that with Anakin Skywalker. The storyline wasn't so bad. The characters, I had no problem with all but a couple. They just weren't fans of a couple characters. I thought they were a little silly and unnecessary.
So this is a conversation that we are definitely
we're gonna disagree because
and
everybody wants to say, "Oh well, Jar Jar Binks is equal to C-3PO." I said, no. C-3PO was but they try to relate it to that whole childish kind of way of speaking and acting.
They gotta bring something into it to be marketable.
I said no, I don't think so. I am just never have been, never will be a fan of the Jar Jar Binks character. Well, I think they could have just did it better.
I mean, I'll agree to a point because the original 3 are perfection, especially Empire. Empire, just perfection. I didn't hate the prequels. I actually enjoyed them.
Well, don't get me wrong. Don't say it like I hated them. I didn't hate them.
No,
I just think they could have did better. I think they could have did better.
Now, if we're talking about the latest 3, I hate those. Oh, with a passion. Because we're going to get into the whole. We'll get into the whole Star Wars thing because that could be a whole 2-hour episode in itself. But it could. They missed the mark. They're trying to play a certain angle, just like how they did with Justice League, just like how they're doing with Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey. They're trying to take a certain angle on certain movies and certain plot lines, and they're missing the mark for the people who are watching it.
Well, me personally, I think they kind of did that with the Alien series.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in the original Aliens, they didn't show the alien much, so it was a mystery. I mean, you kind of got it, you kind of saw it, you saw little pod things, but it was still, it wasn't the main. It wasn't just in your face nonstop. So you got to see the character development of all the other people on the ship or in the movie. I think the modern ones, they show the aliens so much that you don't get full character development on all the other people in the show.
That's like the movie with Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix with the aliens. I can't remember what it was. It had to do with the water, and the aliens were always like just a brief view of it. I can't remember the name of the movie. I'm pretty sure we're going to put it up right here so everybody knows what Signs.
Which one is it?
Signs. Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to put it up on the screen so everyone has a sign of it. Signs.
Not to be all over the board, though, but if you want to bounce back and forth a little, DC, I believe it is, he's much better with remembering and keeping all this in track than I am. the movie that I thought got tore to hell and back by most people that I absolutely loved, because I get into the psychology of people and the way a person would be as far as if they had suffered through certain traumatic episodes. Two of them is Batman character.
Yep.
I always thought he'd be a little bit more ruthless, a little bit darker of a character due to his traumatic childhood than the I just tie him up and wait for the cops to arrive kind of character. Nobody ever has bruises. Yeah. Anyway, and then the other one that I thought was an exceptional movie that so many people rag was The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix.
I still haven't seen The Joker.
One of my best
gotta watch it.
DC movies ever. But most people found it boring because it was, first off, it was kind of like his backstory. It was like what brought him to be the Joker, and not so much him as fully the Joker. But it wasn't as much of an action movie. It was more of a head movie. It was getting into him psychologically, and I think it was the best one ever.
I've got to see that.
I think it brought a whole new understanding to the character Joker.
I might have to bring my notebook and start writing this down.
Yeah, I'll remind you. You got to see Joker. I think it was amazing.
But getting to Batman, a lot of people lost their mind. Well, I'm a Batman fan. I'm a Superman guy. I love Superman. I think he's my favorite character. But the two newest Batman movies, you have Dawn of Justice. That's the one when Superman fought Batman.
Right.
Ben Affleck, in my personal opinion, this is a hot take. I could get some hate for this. Hopefully it'll fill the comments. Ben Affleck was, in my personal opinion, the best older Batman and Bruce Wayne. He fit the persona of both characters in older Batman perfectly. He's by and far my favorite Batman.
Yeah, a lot of them you had a Batman that was a good Batman, but not a good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And then you had others that were good Bruce Waynes, but not really great Batman.
Like Val Kilmer, great Bruce Wayne. Yeah. Okay Batman. Then you got what's his name? The Dark Knight.
Michael Keaton.
No, that was the original Batman.
What's his name?
Oh man, the whole Dark Knight trilogy. Yeah. I can't remember his name, but it'll come to me like it has been. Look, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Anybody watching people on YouTube, anybody watching streamers play video games, and that's easy. I can sit there and play video game. Christian Bale. Yeah. Anybody who says I can play video games and talk the whole time is full of shit. It's a lot more difficult than it appears. So just so you know, when the camera's rolling, for some reason it's got this electrical magnetic thing that makes you forget stuff. But Christian Bale, the best Batman. I did not buy him as Bruce Wayne at all.
I didn't buy him as the best Batman either. I thought, now I'm gonna draw a blank.
Michael Keaton?
No, the one we just talked. The first one we talked about, the one that makes the best Batman.
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. I thought he was one of my favorites. I'm very excited about.
I was about to say that too, Edward
Pattinson.
But James
Pattinson, right?
No, Rob Pattinson.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson.
So we got him. I have a feeling that he's going to knock all of them out of the park. If he gets to do more.
Yeah,
just off that one he did.
Oh, it was so dark.
I think he will be and that's the other reason I liked it, is because they're taking Batman into a little bit darker place than they've ever really taken him before.
Because a lot of people, especially when you take into the comic books, which is, then you go into the animated series, which is another one that from my childhood. But he is the world's greatest detective. He's not just a brutal vigilante who beats the crap out of everybody. He's one of the smartest superheroes on Earth.
Well, in the original Batman's back in the old days, he had that big computer in his Batcave, and everything went through that, and it was way more. Technology now they show it in his equipment, his suit, and his cars, but not so much in his computer systems and his figuring things out method.
I can't wait to see what Rob Pattinson can do with it, because I think he's a great actor.
But even in the comic books, I found that the original comic books were much like the original Batman with Michael Keaton, almost cartoony, almost goofy. The Joker was kind of goofy. It was a little more silly, and I like the darker side. I like the later comic books of Batman where he started getting a little more edgy and a little bit darker and a little bit more violent.
Michael Keaton was great. I loved the first Batman. I thought the first Batman was great. But then in the mid '90s came the animated series, the Batman animated series, and took it from, Batman, the cartoony, pow kapow kind of stuff, and turned it dark, turned it all the way dark. And it's interesting because it literally took part in the way they did the art. Yeah, it was great in how there's whole videos I've seen on just the artwork with it, but turned it dark and then turned it gritty, and then you had. Then you had the more, well, of course you had like the, what's his name? I can see his face. Who, Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie. Had Batman. Jim Carrey, but I can't remember who his. I see his face, but I can't remember his name. He played in ER.
What character did he play?
He played Batman.
Oh, in that.
He was Ocean's 11.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about, but it's not going to come to me either.
Yeah, see, Cameron just...
Yeah, the salt and pepper hair. Yeah. All the girls were crazy about it.
I can't remember. I can see his face, but I can't remember his name, but we'll get back to him eventually. But I hated him as Batman. Hated him. I didn't think there was anything redeemable. I didn't like him as Batman. Didn't like him as Bruce Wayne. Not enjoyable at all. Just hated him. And I'm so glad when they turned around and they started making The Dark Knight and Christian Bale took over, because Christian Bale is a great actor too. But when it came to Ben Affleck, he killed it. I thought he was, and I mean, he had some of the greatest one-liners in Batman movie history. He's like, "What's your superpower?" "I'm rich." Yeah, that's exactly what Bruce Wayne would say. But I love those. But I mean, even going back into like the Arrowverse, I know that you probably haven't seen most of them, but you have the TV shows.
Sorry about the bass.
Yeah, we're still in the garage. Well, just stick with us. It's a good conversation. The Arrowverse shows you have Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow. Then you now you have the new Superman and Lois. That Superman and Lois show is good.
All right, my biggest problem with the series, all of them that I've watched so far, is the amount of time it takes them to become a superhero. Like, you might go through 2 seasons where they're just not there, and I'm just like, all right, I agree with backstory, but I think the backstory needs to be kind of deep but short. You need to get all the facts in, but you need to do it in enough time that I don't lose interest. Because that's what happens to me. Yeah, I get into season 1, I get about to the end of season 1, he's still not the Flash, or he's still not whatever I tuned in to watch, and I'm out. I wind up, it's not that I'm out, I just wind up never going back. Yeah. I keep meaning to go back and finish it and keep going, but to be honest, I lost my interest and steam on it.
I mean, first of all, everybody's going to like what they like. Not, you can't.
Everybody's different.
You can't sit here and tell me. We've had this conversation about green beans. Like, I hate green beans. So if somebody turned around and said that's because you haven't had my green beans, it's like, no, they're still green beans. If you don't like a show, you're not going to like it, no matter how much I pressure you to say it's good. It's good.
Well, yeah. Well, that happens with the movie or the series I like, Breaking Bad. The first time I watched it, I watched a handful of episodes. I lost interest. Just wasn't taking off right in my mind. And then it was years I went without seeing it. And then Better Call Saul, I think is the name of the one that came out. And Jenny and I started watching that, and man, we weren't 4 episodes in, and I was in love with that show. And I was like, I want to go watch Breaking Bad to tie it in, because Better Call Saul takes place during the time of Breaking Bad and then after Breaking Bad. And so I went back and started Breaking Bad, and man, I got through maybe 5 or 6 episodes, maybe all the way into season 2, and it just kicked off. And I tell you, I loved that. I was sad when it ended. I was like, man, that's sad. There's only a handful of movies that made me sad when they ended, or TV series, like Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy, The Vikings, which I know they've got some new ones out. Some spin-offs, but they're not the same. It's not all the same characters. Yellowstone and all of that trilogy. I'm still watching some of it, but it just, it makes you sad when it's over. Yeah. Ozarks was another one I really enjoyed. Ozarks.
Ozark's one that I've tried once. I need to get back in. I'm going to try it again.
One of my favorite female characters is on that. His assistant, the little blonde girl that becomes his kind of like his confidant, his assistant or whatever she actually takes on.
That gets us into a whole different subject. Talking about female characters. You look at Vikings. You mentioned Vikings. The baddest character other than Ragnar is Lagertha.
Yeah.
She is that she. Well, first of all, even in history or lore, however you want to say it, she was bad. You make a character like that who's not just one single facet, and
well, they did so good with her because not only did they keep in fact of her man was the king and her man was powerful and she backed her man, but she was also just brutally ruthless. I mean, she was a warrior.
Yeah, she's shielding, just one of the greatest in history.
And unfortunately, in so many movies, they can't seem to do that without them having to surpass everyone else. Like, they have to be the baddest, and to me, that's not realistic. I mean, let's be for real.
Yeah,
it's more realistic when they're just a warrior and they're just bad.
Yeah, I mean, like they did the same thing with Marvel when they introduced Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel's an exceptional character, but there was one scene that I didn't love because it's Captain Marvel. You know what I mean? She's like the most powerful. She's up there with Thor, and it's just it's one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel universe. And then in the one fight scene, they're playing the song "She's Just a Girl" while she's beating everyone's ass. We know she's a girl. We don't care at that point. She's not just a girl. She's Captain Marvel. There's a term in writing that's called show don't tell. And instead of telling somebody what they're thinking or telling somebody what they're doing, have them do it.
I have a different take on that. I don't mind that because I think that's good for little girls growing up to realize that they can be anything. They can be powerful. They can be warriors. Yeah. They can be anything they want to be. So I don't mind that they played the song, and I don't mind that. I think there just has to be that balance where you don't have to put down or belittle others to make them look more powerful. Just make them powerful. Make them a warrior. Okay, and I thought they did a good mix of that in the Vikings.
Then that goes Vikings. They did. It was the best use of, even in 300. Even in 300, when he's about to kick the Persian messenger down the well, he looks back at his wife, and his wife's like, "Mm-hmm." I mean, that's a badass woman right there to do that. I mean, I just get frustrated.
It's also a badass relationship. It's a relationship where one isn't greater than the other. It's a relationship where they take each other's input, and
they're not equals in I can do anything you can do. They're equals in everything they do. They're on the same
true
level.
essence of a partnership.
Yeah.
Where nobody's left behind and both people have their supporting roles.
You were saying that you kind of get bored and lost when it takes longer to get to a certain point in their training, like in the Arrowverse shows. But then again, you have the new Star Wars movies where you have Rey, who turns around and she's a scavenger, and all of a sudden 5 minutes later she picks up a lightsaber and knows everything about the Force.
Yeah, there's obviously too fast.
So. There's a balance that people need to find.
And I think that's where so many shows lose it, is they don't keep the balance to the right point of getting their butt kicked, going through some training, and then becoming the character.
Yeah, the old school 80s.
Where they drag it out for too long, and then you're 3 seasons in before they ever even start really being a hero. And I mean, maybe that's reality, but I got limited time.
I do think that
I lose my interest in it.
I do think that you got a little exaggeration there, but I don't think you're exaggerating. I think it might have felt like 3 seasons.
I'm not saying it was 3 seasons. I'm not saying it was exactly 3 seasons. It wasn't until season 4, episode 1. I'm not saying that.
That's what I mean.
It was an exaggeration, but it is a long time. And I'm the type of person, if it's a book, if it's a song, if it's a YouTube or a show I'm watching on any platform, on any style, if you don't snag me in a certain period of time, I'm out.
Yeah.
I move on to what's next because there's got to be something that'll get my attention a little more. That's why I love movies that start off with something right in the beginning to set the tone of the movie. So you're locked in from the first, before the credits even, or the opening credits come up. Before it even comes up, you're locked in. You're there for the whole thing.
I mean, so the show that did that the best that I've ever seen is The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I've never watched an episode.
So it's very, for me, it became very formulaic. You watch an episode, except for the first one. The first couple were, slower, so it ramped up. But once it got later, you have 10, 15 minutes of action in the beginning. Then you have some boring. Then you have some action in the middle, boring. And then the very end of the episode, you have about 10 minutes of action and a cliffhanger. Then the next episode picks up with the cliffhanger and 10 minutes of action. They did it so well that made you say, I need to come back for the next episode to see what's going to happen.
I have never given that movie or that series a shot because I burnt out on zombie movies probably the first year they came out.
Yeah.
I watched a bunch and they just kept popping them out, and they just were they're just all the same thing. Same movie, just different characters. Same movie, different characters. There's a few I liked. I liked Resident Evil for the first three movies. I liked
another badass female character.
The one with Will Smith.
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. I thought that was a good one. But most of the other ones were either silly or just not my thing.
Now, The Walking Dead, again, I felt that up to a certain point you're watching it. Again, for me, it became very formulaic. I was seeing the way that they were making it, the outline. I could see where the story was going. And it became kind of boring to me because I knew where it was going. So I knew what I was going to see every episode. Maybe change the characters a little bit, but it just got to a point where I was like, I could go without watching it. So I stopped watching it.
Well, like Jenny and I started watching the Throne, Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
And we're so much alike in the way we view movies and shows and what we like and what we don't like. But also very differently. She likes MDK, Murder, Death, Kill, like 48 hours and all these things like that. And I can watch them. I can even get into it if I watch it long enough. But I never choose it. And I would much rather watch photography videos, sailing, anything. But we both started watching Game of Thrones, and it was probably the episode or maybe two after they killed, what was it, Dracar?
Talking about like the first season where they killed.
Yeah, they killed off what's his name, Jason Momoa.
Oh yeah, okay.
When they killed him off, then we said, all right, well that sucks. We were very mad. We weren't going to watch it, and then we came back and watched it. We started watching a few more episodes, and we found another character. We're like, oh, we really like this guy. We'll keep watching it for this. And then they killed him off, or her off, or whoever it was. And we both looked at each other and said, we're done. We're just done with it.
That right there is the entire story of Game of Thrones.
And that's what, I'm kind of glad we cut it off, because everybody I've talked to said they do that the entire way.
They just kill everybody.
Every time you love a character, they kill them.
Then
the only ones they don't kill are the ones you hate.
Then they had the Red Wedding, where they literally killed everybody.
But I think the dragon...
She made it all the way through.
I think she makes it all the way through. And
there was like 3 or 4 characters that made it. 5 that I know of.
If I was to watch it, she would probably be my holding grace, because in the beginning, when they killed off her new husband, I didn't think she was going to become a major character.
Yeah.
Because they moved away from her after that for a while. So if I'd have known she was going to come back and be such a pivotal character and even have a spinoff about that character, then I probably could have stayed watching it on that alone. But I didn't. I lost interest.
I saw maybe the first 3 seasons. It was definitely not. Parts of it I really enjoyed. Parts of it I really didn't enjoy. So I thought maybe I'd mess with reading the books. I haven't got around to it because my to-be-read list is way too long as it is. But I never really got into it. I think I've seen like the first 2 seasons, first 2.5 seasons. Just... And the crazy part is that's my thing. That's my genre. I love those sorts of books and movies, but I just couldn't get into them. Yeah. So let's ask this. We got into some movies and TV shows. Is there a movie or a television show that left such an impression that it's still with you today. So like, I'll give you an example. The first time I saw the movie Backdraft, I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a scene where the dude's walking up to the house and he opens the door and the fire blows him back into the car. To this day, I am almost 42 years old. To this day, when I open a door, I hold the handle and turn it and pause for a second to make sure it's not hot. Anytime I open a door, I do it. It formed that thought from a child.
I don't think I have anything that I would attribute to exactly, a feeling. I think there are movies that you watch that you love that may help you with like movies of courage and movies of being a man of your word and being a man of honor and stuff like that, and protecting those you love. I think that movies can help that, especially if you don't get a lot of that in your personal life. With family and stuff, maybe you're not as connected to them or something. So I think they can help, but I don't have an instant like
Nothing that has that form.
Probably one of my favorite movies growing up that held top spot for the longest was probably Braveheart.
Yeah.
Tapped a little into the heritage side of my family and just the overall
badass.
Honor and respectability of the character and what they were fighting for.
Thomas the Bruce.
It was just a really good movie.
It was really good.
Even now, I'll go back every so many years and I'll rewatch it, and it's just every bit as good as the first time I watched it.
So there's a bunch of movies where people are like, "Oh, that movie was garbage. That movie sucked. That movie was horrible." Like a lot of people talk really bad about Waterworld, which I thought wasn't a bad movie.
I thought it was entertaining. I put it in the same area that I would put like Mad Max and some of those movies. They're good and they're enjoyable. They're not great, but they're solid entertainment. I mean, they're good movies. I have movies that I'll go to the movie theater and see, and then movies that I wait until they come out at the house and I watch them at home.
There's very few. I mean,
there's only a few.
So expensive.
Anything Marvel.
Yeah.
Anything big Marvel. Or something, like when all the
Endgame and
when those were coming out, those I wanted to see in the theater. Both of the remakes of It, which was by far the best remake I've ever seen to date. I love the remakes more than I love the originals.
One day I'm gonna have to watch it. I'm not a big horror guy. It's not that I'm scared of it. It's they're boring to me. I call the movies I like the most are what I call like the Catholic horror movies, like that deal with possession and demons and stuff like that. Those kind of freak me out a little bit, but maybe I'll have to turn around and watch it.
You have to watch it.
I'll have to watch that.
You'll be surprised. Jenny, who hates clowns and refused to watch any movie that had any clowns in it at all, I talked her into going to the movie theater and watching it with me. She absolutely loved it. We have a couple years ago, we had a Halloween party that had clowns all over the house, demonic and scary clowns. And so sometimes if you face what you don't think you'll like, it
Speaking of it, I'm gonna throw a theory at you. This is one I heard online just 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So there's a theory going around, and I don't know, I've never seen it, but they're saying that the clown from It, it's named George.
No, Georgie's the little brother to the boy. He's the one that goes missing.
So they're saying that
either Georgie's the one that goes missing or he's the brother. Now that I'm a little jumbled in my head.
Put you on the spot. Well, the clown from It and Mary Poppins are supposedly of the same species.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that yet.
Just saw it the other day. I thought I'd throw it out there because I haven't seen It. And personally, this is going to sound freaking crazy to anybody who has seen the movie, and this is a reason it stuck with me. I am petrified of Mary Poppins. I know it sounds ridiculous. Nobody can understand it. See, when I was younger, I was little. I had a nightmare that I was up against the wall, and Mary Poppins had her damn umbrella, and she was telling me to take my medicine. And I didn't want to, so she used her freaking umbrella like a gun, like the Penguin, and was shooting sugar at me. And like sugar bullets. Yeah, I'm weird. So when it comes to a theory like that, where it and Mary Poppins might be of the same species, I'm going to say, I told you. I knew it.
I don't know what it is.
I knew it from the beginning.
I've never heard of anybody refer to her as a crown or.
See, I don't know. I've never seen it, so I don't even. I thought it was a human. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, so I'll have to watch it because now there might be a parallel between my most feared character, Mary Poppins, and the clown.
If there is, I got to rewatch it because they do not allude to it to the fact that you go, oh my god. But who knows? Maybe there's some Easter eggs in there that I've overlooked. Yeah. Simply because I never thought about the fact they could tie in.
Yeah, I'm going to do some more research into that because I will so gladly get into you and say, I told you so.
To everybody. That thing that I was telling you earlier about the online, I saw it on like YouTube or somewhere, Instagram or somewhere, where they're saying that in the Indiana Jones movie there are symbols and emblems to tie to Star Wars. And then in Star Wars, there's imagery and symbols to tie to Indiana Jones. In the conversation that was going on that, or the little comment they were trying to make is, could it be that Indiana Jones is the dreams
of
Han Solo when he was in the
carbonite sleep?
When he was in the carbonite sleep, could that be the dreams he had, and then they made movie? I don't know. I mean, you'd have to talk to the people that made it.
You have to talk to George Lucas. And, well, I mean, they're both Lucasfilms,
right?
You know,
both the same actor.
So of course, there's going to be parallel, but it's an interesting, thing to connect.
Sometimes I think that just they may drop stuff in the movie just to tie it to another piece of work the person did, without it really having any real significance.
And then fan theories just run away with it.
Yes.
Marvel's one who fully adopted
There was a movie that recently did that. Man, now that I'm talking about it, I cannot think to pull it up. That just has numerous little Easter eggs in it, but they don't go anywhere. They're just tied to another movie.
Yeah, that's like all the all of the Pixar movies. They did it in the long run to show that it's all part of the same timeline. Yeah. But when they first start, you just notice, oh, hey, that's the pizza guy from the other movies, or oh, that's that from that. When you sit there and look, all the Pixar movies are one timeline. So all of them are interconnected, but they didn't come out with that until much later. And then Marvel's one who turned around and took fan theories and totally ran with it. Like in Iron Man 2, the little kid who comes out and is trying to fight the robots, and then Iron Man comes down and shoots him, and he says, "Good job, kid," and flies away. There was a fan theory that was Spider-Man. That was that's the kid who grew up to be Spider-Man, and the people behind Marvel were like, "That's brilliant. We're doing that." So that was Spider-Man.
Did you see the latest Saw 10?
No.
You gotta watch that.
That's one where I'm gonna have to sit down and maybe one day when I'm home we can do a whole weekend and just everybody watch all the Saw movies.
I love the Saw movies. I like almost all horror movies. I don't find any of them scary, but I love them all. I don't know why. I just enjoy watching them. And my daughter Bree comes down from college. She'll come home from college and she'll want to binge. Like she'll be home for a couple weeks or something, and we will literally binge every one of the Saws over like a weekend, like a 2-3 day weekend. And the other thing we were doing for a while, which we've fallen out of, is every season when she come home for summer or Christmas break or whatever, we would watch episodes of American Horror Story. Try to get through one season while she was home.
Amanda likes American
There
Horror
are
Story.
some amazing seasons, and then there's a couple that I had to struggle to get through.
I'll tell you, if I were going to watch that, I think the one reason why I would go ahead and say I will watch it is because of Lady Gaga.
Oh, totally.
So that if I were to watch it, I think that would be pretty much the main reason why I'd say, okay, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I think she's an exceptional actress. I really think she's exceptional.
It doesn't hurt that she's hot.
I think she's very attractive too. I don't care what anybody says. Hot take on that one. What about Final Destination? Can you drive behind a truck with logs on it?
I'm a truck driver, bro. Of course I can.
Fuck that.
I could ride on the logs on the truck.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
I have spent most of my life, literally over half my life, in a semi, in one form of vehicle or another, traveling our interstates and our highways.
Right, and you know other truck
more than
drivers.
most people. And it is what it is.
Yeah, if you were driving and if you were driving that log truck and I knew you checked to make sure that that load was secure, I would trust it some more. Somebody else, I don't trust other people.
You know who you
what
need
other
to fear
people
the
do.
most on the highways are people who are loaded down in truck or trailer that are not professionals. Because I have seen mattresses, couches, dressers, boxes, all kinds of miscellaneous stuff bounce out of the back of trailers and pickup trucks and be devastating on traffic. Because there's nothing worse than something big flying at you. Actually, back in high school, which I never went, but my friends, they all had the same teacher at their school who was riding his motorcycle, and a mattress or a surfboard, I think it might have been a surfboard, flew off the top of the car, hit him, made him crash, and then he got ran over by the people behind him because they didn't stop in time. But it's just, people really need to be careful when they haul stuff.
That's just another reason that emphasizes the reason why I don't want to live someplace where it snows. When we go to Michigan in the wintertime, which is lovely, I love visiting my in-laws. But
Michigan.
The weather part, no, screw that. I'd much rather be down here with hurricanes, alligators, and freaking pythons, whatever the hell you want to talk about. When winter's up north, screw that. But like when we go visit and it snows and there's snow and ice on the car, I take it off. I knock it off. I figure out a way to get it off. These people go up there, they clear off the windshield and drive around with 3-4 inches of snow and ice on the top of their vehicle, and it flies off and becomes a hazard. Come on, guys.
It's a big enough deal that most truck stops in the north have a scraper on that overpasses where you exit, or at least somewhere on the property where you drive your truck under it, and it literally scrapes the top of the snow off the top of the trailer.
I mean, all you have to do
you
is
also have to go out and watch your taillights. I mean, when I used to drive up there in the winters, you have to stop every hour or two and walk to the back of the truck and dust off your taillights, because after a little while with the blowback of snow, you no longer have taillights. Yeah. You're just driving, so anybody coming up on you in a snow doesn't even see you.
I mean, all you have to do is just watch a little bit of YouTube. Watch these car accidents. Watch these, these clips, which is something, I don't know why we do it, but we tend to do it once in a while too. But all you got to do is watch clips like that and realize the hazard. Take the snow off your damn vehicles. Coming from a
we kind of lost our
Southern
way
guy,
on our movie talk.
Yeah, that one just pisses me off. But it goes back to the Final Destination, and you don't Final Destination someone. Come on, there's our public service announcement for the day. What about cartoons? I know that you had a.
I don't watch cartoons.
Well, I meant when you were younger.
All right, when I was younger, my cartoons when I was younger were Scooby-Doo, Tom and Jerry, anything Bugs Bunny. That was pretty much the core of what I liked. I mean, I saw other cartoons, but I never really got into a lot of them as much. I liked Mr. Magoo back in the day. I'm not sure if that was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon or not.
I don't know if it was Hanna-Barbera.
But I never got into like the Thundercats or the Transformers or G.I. Joe or any of that. That was, I think I just
wasn't it?
Yeah, that was coming out when I was getting a little older,
into the teenage years.
I don't know. I was such a Bugs Bunny fan and Tom and Jerry, that Marvin and Martian. I mean, you're talking classics, man.
See, like, you hit on 2 of the 3 big ones for me. I mean, you got Thundercats, which was my shit. Lino and Panther.
But that makes sense. You're 10 years younger than me?
Yeah.
So that makes sense that you would be into those, because those became, remember, I'm back before they ever had a Cartoon Network. I mean, I'm back to 3 channels on a TV that you turn the dial on.
Hey, I had one of those TVs.
Antennas for
move the antenna, and you have the little. You kids today won't even understand anything with rabbit ears and stuff like that.
It's hard to explain the difference from then to now. I mean, I remember. Now you come home from school, you get on your Xbox or your PS or your computer, and you play games. Or if you do watch TV, you have a million different shows to watch in reality.
And it's on demand.
I remember rushing home from school because we knew that we had to be home within so many minutes of getting out of school, because it started like Gilligan's Island and other shows that were like that growing up that you wanted to watch. And then you could go outside and play for a while and then be back inside for the Muppets or Back Inside for Dukes of Hazzard, The Fall Guy, all those A-Team, all those shows that played later in the day. You know, Airwolf was a little after my time, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I spent the evening last evening and this morning going back and trying to pick up shows where we could connect on this, and I kind of figured we weren't going to, so we took it in the direction we took it into for this episode.
Well, what made it even worse is from the time I was in 3rd grade, until I was 18 and moved out of my parents' house. For that section, 3rd grade to 18 out of my parents' house, no TV.
Yeah.
My parents went from being, partiers and druggies to cleaning their life up, but when they did, they went religious, and they went hardcore religious. And TV was one of the things that was out. So we were allowed to read books, but those had to be approved. Which somehow I got lucky enough to sneak some Stephen King by, and they never told me I couldn't read it. So thank God for Stephen King. That's probably why I love him so much more than some people.
Yeah, that's another subject that we joke around with things. We don't clash over it, but it's definitely something we disagree on.
But in all fairness too, you're more of a fantasy and stuff like that.
Again, it's that horror,
I love Dean Koontz, Stephen King, anything along that, Anne Rice, anything along that line.
Like Anne Rice.
And then you go over to John Grisham,
Tom Clancy,
Lee Child. Because my favorite, if I had to pick one book or one writer to write one book, series of books, and that's all I could ever read for the rest of my life, would be the Reacher novels. 100%.
See, that's because you haven't read the Trap books yet.
I have literally read every book that they have ever written. Even the collabs he's done with other people, even the collection of short little...
I'm telling you, if you ever read any of the Mitch Rapp books, you would put him up there with Reacher. He is. I mean, Reacher's great. I enjoy Reacher. I haven't read the books in years, and I only read them once. But the Mitch Rapp books, Vince Flynn, he wrote them. They made a recent movie called American Assassin, and what's his name? The first Batman. Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton was a character who trained him, and really good movie. Like, I was kind of blown away, but the books, the American Assassin books, are kind of written in a different order. But Mitch Rapp, I mean, I put him as like a Jack Bauer and that kind of character, but you would love it.
Freaking yeah, I love Lee Child. Only books I've ever listened to 4 times through, and still get enjoyment from them every time.
Yeah,
I have half of them are still on my iPad, in my phone. Well, they're on my iCloud, whatever.
For your birthday or Christmas, I'm getting you the damn Mitch Rapp books. Forget it. That's going to happen.
Then they came out with the Amazon Prime series of Reacher, season 1.
Amazing.
Awesome. Finally nailed it, because they came out with 3 movies before they came out with the TV series, and they botched it every time. A wrong leading actor. You cannot write a book that has a very distinct character and then bring someone in who is the exact opposite in everything of the character and have it be viable. It just can't be done. I mean, and I watched them and I was like, oh, the story's the same. I get the story because I've read the story. But that's not Reacher. I don't know who that guy is.
I mean, Reacher is literally the character. Like, Reacher's like 2 characters in one. His size is a character alone. Just that part of him is just is.
But it also has to be a size that looks attainable just through natural genetics and life, which
Alan Richardson
does. I mean, obviously, most of us probably assume he spent some time in the gym. The guy's in amazing shape. But I've also known some guys growing up that didn't spend a lot of time. I mean, they played sports and stuff, but they never were lifters. They were never power or gym guys, and they just had naturally chiseled, naturally bulky physiques. And he plays that well, which is the whole part of that character.
Yes.
He never worked out a day in his life. He just was healthy, ate like a horse, and was in the military.
And he walks.
Yeah, he walks everywhere. Well, walks.
Yeah.
But the season 1 on that was awesome. Season 2, I loved it too. I still think I love season 1 better. I think season 2 was good. I'm anxious to see what they do in the next season.
I'll tell you, Amazon is killing it with their stuff right now. The one that I haven't seen, The Rings of Power yet. I do plan on watching it. I'm not going to listen to. Again, we talked about that. I'm not going to listen to critics and people talking about it without seeing it first. But with Reacher, with the Wheel of Time, which is my all-time 1,000% favorite, I even put the Wheel of Time over Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, I would say, is in the top 5, but book series, movies and stuff, definitely the Wheel of Time is number 1. Now, the first season was a letdown in a way. First of all, I was hyped because it's my favorite. But it was really hard with COVID and the filming, and they needed to do reshoots, but they couldn't because of the COVID restrictions and everything. They did the best they could. They made up for it big time in season 2. Season 2, wow. Like I was even watching, I'm like, damn, this is what I was hoping for. So much better in season 2. Love season 2. But then they made Without Remorse for Tom Clancy. Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're killing it with their shows right now. And then Without Remorse, it was completely different from the novel. And I think they kind of missed a little bit where they could have fitted in the Jack Ryan TV show universe. But, I mean, it's Michael B. Jordan, dude. I love that guy. He's a great actor. But yeah, I mean, they're killing it. Netflix, they started to drop the ball a little bit, in my opinion, because I think the writing started going downhill with a lot of their shows and movies. Disney, there's still old Disney Plus stuff that I watch, but Amazon right now is taking over my watch list. For sure.
Yeah, I watch the movie channel that we have, but I also watch YouTube and Amazon Prime. Those are pretty much the 3 things, or not YouTube, Netflix and YouTube. I watch those 4. Those 4 almost exclusively. I don't have Hulu or Fandango or whatever all those others are.
But I mean, then you got like Paramount, which has Yellowstone, which I gotta tell you, Yellowstone blew me away. I thought that was one of
it's one of the. There's been a handful of series that what I'll do is I'm bored, I'm off. I work some days during the morning, and then other days I work like a 15-hour overnight. So my schedule is very weird. So there'll be days where Jenny's at work and I'm home, and I either have half a day before I have to go to work, or I'm home and I have half a day before she gets home from work. And so I'll sit down at lunch and I'll be like, I want to watch something. So I'll put a show on, like Yellowstone. I think that's how it started. I said, what's this? You know, who cares? I'm just eating lunch. So I turned it on, and I got probably into episode 2, and I shut it off. I said, I gotta watch this with her. Because if she likes this and is into it as much as I am right now, this will be our new thing.
It's gonna be our show.
And what I say, the thing is, when her and I find something we both like, we literally, every night when we're home and we're done with all our, activities or whatever we've got going on outside of just chilling on the couch, then we settle into the couch and we literally binge watch that bitch until the end of the season.
I can't watch from week to week anymore, man. I'm ruined.
Yeah, I don't. I have to be honest. I did that with this last Reacher, and I absolutely hated it. I will not do that again, because every week when I watch the new one, I just wished I had more. I wish there was more. I wish I could have watched it. So now I've actively went back and have watched it through as a series, as one shot, because you get a little fuzzy. I mean, they do a recap, but it's not the same as watching it play as just one continuous story.
I would love to see the analytics on the rewatches of a certain show. Like if you do it week to week like that, I wonder what the analytics would look like if they released it all at once, the rewatches of the season versus releasing it week to week. I would be willing to bet that there's a ton of people who will rewatch the whole series a couple times.
Oh yeah.
In the same amount of time that they're releasing it, watching one episode at a time. I'd love to see the analytics on that. I'm curious about that one. I'm very curious about that. But
the first Reacher, season 1, I watched that in one day.
Yeah.
I started it early in the morning. Jenny had went to work, and I turned it on, and I thought, I read the books. I love them. We'll see. And I literally stayed up through my nap time, all the way up until I went to work, and then I went to work, got where I needed to be, got done, and then I had to wait for the second market to open, and I literally finished the season. So one day, I watched the entire first season. Could not get enough of it, but again, I'm a Reacher fan, so.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the way I feel about Wheel of Time too. It's I've read the books multiple times. I've listened to the audiobooks multiple times. Every couple of years, I re-listen to the audiobooks, and then now they have a television show. So no matter what happens, I'm watching.
See, I struggle the most with fantasy. That's my hardest to watch. I am about episode 6 or 7 probably on the Wheel of Time.
Yeah, the worst.
And I haven't been back to see it in so long. If I went back now, I'd have to start back at the beginning.
Yeah.
It just didn't keep me.
Yeah, it doesn't help that I hype it up as much as I do because I do love it. So it doesn't help because you're not seeing it the way I'm seeing it because I know it.
It's not that. It's just I don't know what it is. There's just fantasy's a hard read. It's a hard watch. I started watching Witcher. I thought, oh, this is gonna be awesome. I couldn't get through it. I lost interest. I even bought one of the books thinking, oh, maybe the book will be better and that'll make me get into it more to where I can watch the shows. And it didn't. I've yet to ever finish the book. So now I have a book I haven't finished, and it's audiobook at that.
They kind of ruined Witcher too because Henry Cavill wanted to keep it as close to, the books, the story as it should be, and they were like, "No, you're being toxic. We're not doing that." So he dropped out. He was like, "All right, I'm done. If we're not doing it this way, I'm dropping out." Now he's in really deep into Warhammer 40K, which I don't know if you even know about.
Nothing about it.
So now he's super deep into making a series about Warhammer 40K, which I know a little bit about. I'm not really big into it, but it's Henry Cavill. I'm watching that too. The Halo movie, or the Halo show.
I haven't watched that yet. I've watched an episode, but I haven't locked into it.
I've never played Halo. I wasn't a Halo. I'm not a gamer. I kind of stay away from them because I do have kind of an addictive personality, and I'm afraid if I start playing games, that's going to become my life. So I kind of stay away from them. But the show I thought was great. I love the show.
Kenny and I don't currently have a series that we're watching. I think our last ones were Blacklist, and there might have been a couple others. But I have decided to go back and watch something. I've seen many episodes, and I've loved them, and I love the character. I see the clips on Facebook and other places all the time, and I love them. And so I started watching House from the beginning. I'm like, I'm going to finally watch this entire season, or entire show, all seasons.
Yeah, so in the comments, do not put spoilers about the ending.
Yes, please don't.
He actually hasn't seen the ending. Now, I dropped some spoilers on him about the airplane crash into the hospital, so...
I just figure he's lying, so... I hope so, otherwise he's got a beaten.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm super hyped for some of the stuff that's coming up this year. Marvel's kind of dropped off for me. A lot of the Marvel
I think
stuff.
Is it this year that we have a new Deadpool coming out?
No. There's issues with the production with that as well.
Oh, I thought it was coming out this year.
Last year they had the writer's strike.
Okay.
So they couldn't film during that. So that was about, I think it was like 5-6 months.
24 or 25?
I believe they pushed it to 25. But additionally, on top of that, Marvel acquired Deadpool.
But that means we'll have like another 5 Fast and Furious before they do the next.
At
Deadpool.
least 5.
Yeah.
But he's fighting with the studio now about them trying to change things. And he's like, no, I'm Deadpool. You're going to do what I say. Yeah. So there's issues with the production with that. It's been going on since.
Tell you what, if they put anybody else in that movie besides Ryan Reynolds, I will never watch it.
Nope. Done.
A fact. Never will watch it.
I'll
not even out of curiosity to see if it worked. I will not watch it.
I'll even go as far as to say, if they screw up Deadpool, I may never watch another Disney movie again. If they screw up Deadpool. Look, I came real close with Star Wars. I came real close. What's his name? Farvo. Farvo, I think. The Mandalorian, the guy who does Mandalorian. He played Happy in the MCU. So he's the only reason I came back to Star Wars. But I came real close to just saying screw it and never watching a Disney movie for what they did with Star Wars. I'm willing to, if they screw up Deadpool, I'm done. I will never watch another Disney movie. I will cancel my subscription, and that'll be the end of Disney for me. Period. I mean, Deadpool is Deadpool. And Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool.
We should probably address our vaping here, as it's not a promotion or anything. It's
It's what we do.
I was a 3-pack a day smoker. This got me off cigarettes. This is a lot cheaper. I do it a lot less. I have none of the health problems I had when I mean, I'm sure it's causing something else wrong with me, but I was to the point where I had to do breathing treatments in between smoking cigarettes, which is just ludicrous that you wouldn't just quit, but whatever. But since then, I haven't had a breathing treatment unless I'm around cats or something else that I'm allergic to for a long enough period of time. I have none of the breathing problems I used to have, so.
We'll go ahead and put the advisory.
I say that because I don't want people thinking I'm trying to promote it to other people. I'm not.
We are
it's
not
just
promoting.
Something that keeps me from doing something far more harmful to myself.
We will never promote drinking to underage, smoking cigars underage, vaping for underage. We're not pushing any of that. This is just us unfiltered. We vape. I started smoking much later in life for some stupid reasons, and discovered on road trips it sucks. So started vaping, and it smells better. And so I just vape now, and it's easier. It's tastes better. It smells better. But we're definitely not suggesting that anybody who's not doing it to start doing it.
I figured we'd put that out there because I know there's going to be probably a bunch of comments in the bottom about it. And it is what it is. I mean, there's good and bad in the world. I guess that's my vice. That's my bad.
And I mean, we know
that and the fork. I absolutely love food, obviously.
Yeah. At least it's not just a spoon.
But anyway, it's a good show.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Like I said, this is, if we didn't record this, we were going to have this conversation today regardless. It's just what we do. We sit around and we talk. Banter, talk, and you're going to get more of this if you stay along, which if you do, comment, like, subscribe. Tell us your favorite movie. Tell us what you're looking forward to. Some of your favorite actors, some of your favorite remakes, some nostalgia movies, television shows, whatever
you think we should check out.
Yeah, I'll come up with a list of things to watch. Eventually, one day, we'll do a video like this on books we've read, and talk about that, read, listen to, however you want to say. We have busy lives now. I don't know many people who sit down and read all the time.
I can't with my job. If I started reading, I'd be out within the first page.
Yeah, we're big audiobook guys. Yeah. Big audiobook guys.
Well, I drive for 3 hours. It's on that day, it's a 6 hours worth of driving, so it's easy to put down some serious book time.
And I walk around with the headphone in my ear 90% of the time. It's an audiobook or a podcast. So yeah, comment below. Anything really, just comment. Come join us over on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram. We're still trying to get our TikTok up and running. Have no idea what direction we're taking that yet. But like, comments, and subscribe, and your personal favorite?
Smash the bell.
Bell.
Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Hope you enjoyed.
Had fun.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.